We need some music to the ensemble. Yeah, so you have to excuse me.
Here we are, it's Friday, and here we are preparing once again for Saturday's Insanity.
Go ahead, folks. Go ahead, folks. All right. Good.
First thing in the morning, it's not healthy. Good morning. The thing I like best about the market is the fact that there's always different merchandise every week. I mean, a lot of the vendors are the same every week, but they always bring different merchandise. And as an antique collector and a person interested in antiques, seeing old things that are made so well really excite me. And being able to put together all of these people from so many different places, not just New York metropolitan area. They come from Massachusetts, they come from Ohio, they come from Pennsylvania, and you never know what they're gonna bring. You never know who's gonna come there and look to buy things. I mean, you know, you get celebrities, but you get the same collectors every week looking for treasures. And also you get people who come to New York maybe once in their lifetime that come to the garage. And for them, it's a wonderful experience because that kind of an environment exists nowhere else in New York.
There is nothing like the flea market here at the garage. It's just a part of what people want and what they like. And I'm glad that I can be a part of it. The items that you can find, it's anywhere from museum quality treasures to junk. But what we might think is insignificant junk is a treasure to the right person. Every weekend in the market, I see young couples pushing baby strollers and families, and a lot of people in their 20s and 30s that are new to New York and they just got an apartment and they come to the market to furnish it. There are things there from the 50s and 60s, and to them, that's antiques. Not 100 years old, but they like it.
What kind of wood does it? What is the best price on this one? Well, I believe you, but it's better if I can afford it.
My hat is over 125 years old, and it's just me. I love Victorian look, and you're gonna find it here in the city at the market here. And I think I look pretty good in this stuff.
Good morning, boys and girls. Yes, I'm wearing one of my favorite hats again. I hope you like it.
The flea market, as I know it, is something that sells old things, things that no longer exist. And where they come from is fascinating. How these vendors find them is fascinating. And the fact that they're still coveted by people and bought by people is so interesting. And the term flea market to me means it's a place I want to go look and see if I can find something that's interesting, no matter where I go in the world. There's a flea market and I'm there. markets have existed throughout history in each and every civilization. And for example, if it was ancient times and you had chickens and I had sheep, I needed eggs and you needed wool to make clothing, we would barter if there was no currency. That personal interaction still exists, and people need that more than they need to be on a computer dealing electronically. I believe that markets will continue to exist because it brings people together, and there's a socialization involved, not just business of buying and selling, but interaction between people. And it's a psychological need for a person to have to interact on different levels with other people.
This is the best antique market in New York City. Right now, if you want to shop anything valuable or anything that's worth buying, this is the place to come. 112 West on 25th Street, New York City.
In my industry that we are working here, this is anything over 100 years old. It's called antique. But the pieces I carry is vintage, antique, used, old, all kind of categories because there are different buyers. Some people really like antique and they're willing to pay the price for the real antique stuff. But some like this gentleman right now, he's looking at the Tibet piece. Yeah, he's from Tibet, I guess, and he think that this is a piece, is an antique piece, and this is definitely over 100 years old. So he knows, and he came and he just asked that specific piece. That means that he knows about it and he really like it. He asked me the price. Okay, let me quote him the price. This is $850.
$850?
Yeah.
I have a dog for sale, 20 million. If anyone, not yet. We might have to come down in our price a little bit, Kyra. Okay.
Okay, so choose it. At least choose a place so we can put your dog for sale.
Where should we put the dog? Good place for it. That's all right. That looks good there too.
Things that we remember from our childhood. Our childhood is what it's all about. Our favorite movie, our favorite TV show, our favorite music. You know, the record that we heard when we were 14 years old and stuck with us. And most of my customers want to recapture that, find it, save it, collect it, put it in a little order, and love it. Everything that kind of relates to the movies, television, radio, rock and roll, music, popular culture from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s is getting more popular. These are about our memories, about our childhood. That's more of what I'm focused on.
I've always loved antiques. I've been collecting since I'm a kid. When I was young, it was coins, then stamps, and I just always loved everything vintage. So lighters I started when I was about 21, and I just got really obsessed with them. I just collected all kinds. I eventually wrote 2 books on lighters. This is one of my books called The Handbook of Vintage Lighters, which includes Zippos, Dunhill, Ronson, American lighters, European lighters. And it's just always been my passion. I just love the designs, you know, the functionality, the looks. Just always, you know, very passionate about lighters.
I retired from photography. You know, tourists came through and they love old cameras. That's their desire. I started in the open lot, which is now nothing but tall high-rises. I'm sorry, I get a little pissed at that, but we finally all got shoved into this little space called the garage.
each one of these things, whether it's a painting or a chair, or whether it's from the Victorian period, the Art Deco period, Art Nouveau, wherever it's from, it's unique and distinct and doesn't exist in mass production anywhere, has character, beauty in and of itself, and is very, it's a very charismatic thing for me. The garage is going to be demolished, which means they're going to just tear it down, and the owners of the property wish to build a 29-story hotel with residences on the top. As everything in New York, development eventually catches up to it, and all parking lots and garages, many of which have been turned into buildings over the last few years, it's the same fate for the garage.
About the garage closing, I'm disappointed because I've been coming here at least 25 years, the outdoor market, and then the garage for the last few years. So I love this area, I love Chelsea, so it's definitely disappointing, to see it close. But, hopefully the new place will grow and, become similar to this. But it's hard leaving the area because I just love the neighborhood.
New York City has become very expensive. The city has lost a lot of business, and people keep having to travel further and further out to Queens, to Brooklyn, to the Bronx, and to New Jersey. It's sad because I was born in New York, I grew up in New York City, and I've seen the change. Many of these people that could never afford to pay rent on 3rd Avenue or Lexington Avenue or 6th Avenue or any avenue or street in Manhattan can afford to pay the rent for the weekend in the market and sell and make some money.
It's so changeable in a sense that we never know week to week when we're going to be there or they're going to be kicking us out. And it's really hard to run a business on an even basis when you don't know if you're not going to be there next month. So for me, that's kind of stress-provoking. And the inability to find an alternative location easily also works on me and is very stressful. But I've been doing this for so long now that I will continue to do it probably until I stop working, which is never.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss it a lot. Because it's like joining the circus, We are like circus performers. We set up and we break down, and it's constant, and it's wow. Yeah, we're sad about it. Yeah, we're not happy. It's because it means more than just us working there. It means a lot to the city. They don't even know it. They're dense. They don't know it. That's what brings people into this. Do you realize the tourists who come just for that? Great.
I've been coming to this garage for my whole life.
Fantastic.
Yeah, my parents have been big fans. Back when 6th Avenue was awesome.
I know it. We miss it. I know it.
Bagels.
Oh, yeah, you were in the good old days.
Yeah, exactly. Now we don't eat bagels.
You know how certain things happen and they just come together? And it's mystical. You don't know why or how. And it's there and you say, wow, this is the way it should be, Yeah, it's like that. It's like the village. It's like Max's Kansas City. It's like a time and place that everybody came together and they experienced it. and it was incredible. And, you know, that's it. It's ephemeral. It flies away. And maybe that's what makes it so precious, because it has a certain time, and that's it. It's life. Hey, we got a certain time. That's it.
They come for social reasons. Meet me at the market because it's a social thing. They make friends there, and maybe there's something that they strikes their fancy and they buy it. A lot of it is impulse buying. I've seen people run into each other that haven't seen each other for 20 years or 10 years or even 30 years. And they remember, oh, remember when we used to meet at the market and here you are. I didn't know what happened to you. And so it's a big social thing. It's part of many New Yorkers' routine. They work all week long, and then on the weekend they have to look forward to the hunt. And that's the fun of it, trying to find something, and you never know who you run into or what celebrity you might spot. A lot of models come there because we have some great vintage clothing dealers, and they find wonderful pieces. Stylists, we have a lot of stylists that come to the market because they're looking for maybe a 40s suit for a man for a certain photo shoot or a film. We're there as a resource for different industries and a lot of people. And then there's just young girls that they collect beautiful old handbags, beaded bags, or beautiful old vintage jewelry. It's great. I like seeing all the young people there. I like to see that the interest goes on.
I often refer to my job as the world's largest group therapy session because all of these are different personalities. Each one of these vendors is a different personality. Some of them have their own issues. Some of them clash with one another, and we're there to keep peace and order. And that's not to say that the people who come to buy are any different. They too are very strange. It's a magnet. I mean, the whole idea of a flea market is counterculture in that it's a different way to make a living. They have to go find merchandise to sell, which is a trip in itself, and then they have to come and sell it. Many of them can never work a job from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. because they're not suited to it. This is an alternative way to make a livelihood.
This has an article in it, on Beatniks. It has a picture. I've been doing this for 45 years, ever since I lost my last job in 1969, when I decided I was unemployable. So I had to think of something to do, and this is it. And, well, it does work. My house is paid for, my truck's paid for, my warehouses of stuff are all paid for, but, you know, things are tough.
This is Sunday morning, and we have dealers that have come to the market to buy merchandise early, you know, try to buy the merchandise before the private or the retail people come in. right now we have a Russian dealer who's interested in one of my items.
Come here, baby.
Yeah. Lulu's a star. She's part of the history of this garage. She's been here for 12 years. And like Ziggy, she's part of the history of it all.
She's been on Earth for 12 years. She's actually 12 years old.
Okay, what's that little green thing right there? Nice Ralph Lauren. Every woman needs a pair of these stretching from here to there. Huh, okay, lovely stuff.
Today we have President Kennedy's stuff. This is the only country that makes money off of selling souvenirs of assassination. Now, this place is supposed to be the best flea market in the world, according to a travel leisure magazine. More than half of these people are immigrants.
We won't know yet probably where we're going, but we will have a place to go. And we will celebrate the camaraderie that we've had over the years, and we'll have a real good time just reminiscing about our past history in Chelsea and how after all of these years, a small business like ours cannot survive in Chelsea because the cost of real estate is too much. But survive we will, and we'll find a place for us to go. And the story continues.
Hey, how are you? My name is Ben. I love this place. Sometimes I find the good things, beautiful, nice things, nice people. I get inspiration from Sex Pistols, from Sid Vicious, from Clash. So I start get dressed like this and do different things like a punk style. Somebody told me about this place. Oh, it's a nice place, nice flea market in New York. So we have to go on. So I start coming like 10 years ago, something like that. And I love it. I'm really enjoying it. It's fun to come here.
Gentlemen, this is closed right now.
When I was a younger man in search of my life and career, I elected to become an entrepreneur. And I learned many things from becoming an entrepreneur, not working for anyone else, and trying to be successful at the things that I did. I started this flea market on a parking lot many years ago. I think it was 1976. And we started with 10 vendors outside, and it was small. We made no money. But somehow the next year, we got another parking lot on the following block, and we had a lot of space and not enough vendors. But after 2 or 3 years of persevering and hanging in there with this whole project, it suddenly snapped, it popped. By the time we were in our 5th or 6th year, we were virtually hosting 600 to 700 vendors on 3 parking lots every weekend. And it became, because we were in New York City, Manhattan, obviously anybody that came from any part of the world to the city saw that this was a phenomenon. Word of mouth from returning tourists to New York sent more tourists to New York, and the antiques community here in New York and surrounding metropolitan area embraced it as a wonderful place to find great old merchandise.
Take you to buy store.
New Yorkers.
Hello everyone, welcome to the New Yorkers special. I'm your host, Sally Oguri.
マンハッタンの真ん中にあるチェルシー地区。ここで毎週末に開かれるフリーマーケット、つまり飲みの市はニューヨークでも最大規模、30年の歴史を誇ります。ヴィンテージショッピングの基本は何といってもまずこのマーケットをチェックすること。あらゆる種類の掘り出し物がニューヨーカーを待ち構えています。
And that's the exciting things about vintage furniture is that, you know, you find that find. And that's why this market is so popular.
What's also nice about vintage is that if you know your body type, you're able to go with clothing that suits your body type. Whereas this 50s is great for a woman with a small waist.
They all want to dress differently from one another, and they want to find something special to wear, and you can find the most unique stuff here.
So what do you get the couple that has everything? Here's a hint. These two are flea market fanatics, as we found out early one Sunday morning.
Oh, I'd buy ice cream from him. So what kind of markup you got on this bug pin?
It's free for you, wedding present.
Oh, I can really have the bug pin. Oh, Joanne, thank you so much.
Welcome. On entertainment tonight.
Yes, it is.
Are you going to be on entertainment tonight?
Yep, and so are you, ma'am.
When? My name is Joanne.
And I'm here this morning at the 26th Street Flea Market doing just a little bit of shopping so that you can see what I do and use my ideas for your kitchen. Come on, let's go. What I buy is between me and the vendor. It's the deal that I make with them, and we both leave satisfied. The trick is to have both people satisfied. You don't want to have a vendor cringing when they see you coming 10 miles away. I never like to leave a place empty-handed. I've been stalking this vase for a couple of weeks now. I'm going in for the kill. You know what? We're both happy. That's the whole trick of it. Everyone just relax and have fun. Don't be afraid to use your imagination. Your imagination is the best thing that you're equipped with.
I was, at the time, running 650 to 700 vendors every weekend outside. And it occurred to me that when it was very cold, or it rained, or it snowed, we were unable to operate, or to operate very limitedly. Somehow, the parking garage on 25th Street, which is just across the street from all of those wonderful parking lots that were in another era, became available. It seemed that the operators of the parking lot couldn't earn enough money parking cars to pay the rent and make a profit. So they wanted to sublet the garage to someone else. So I thought that if on the weekend we did an indoor antiques market and during the week we park cars, we could earn more money than just parking cars. And that would put a roof over our head and protect us from the rain, the snow, the wind, and the winter. And we did it. One, two, three. and we have another space in the front. And we made another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 or 7 more spaces in the front up there because 2, 3, 4, 5. You had a big pack. If everybody. Alan and I were a couple many years ago. I think I was about 19. We broke up and didn't see each other. I had no communication for many years. And one Sunday that I went there, I saw this wooden dummy, like a caricature. It said, Alan Boss's Flea Market, and I said, that's odd because that's a unique name. And I looked, and it kind of looked like I remember he looked. So I asked someone there, where is this guy, Alan Boss? And he's not here now, he's up at his farm. And a couple of more times it happened like that. And then one day I went there and he was there. And so we started talking. What have you been doing with your life? And what have you been doing with your life? Well, you know, I got into this because of you. I'm sorry. But we reconnected after 30 years. And here we are. So I'm in the flea market, and I hope I'm helping him.
everybody's nervous because they don't want it to end. It's work, but it's kind of like a party that they don't want to end. And everybody is looking to him and relying on him. It's not an exaggeration to say at least 4 days out of the week, he's going with brokers all over the city. And he's looking and looking and looking and looking. A couple of times we've been very disappointed because we found wonderful places that would house the flea market and would be centrally located, easy to get to, accessible transportation. And when they found out that we were a flea market, they didn't want us. They rejected us. I guess, it's like nobody wants to rent to the gypsies. It sustains surrounding businesses. It supports the restaurants, the delis, and the stores all around because thousands of people converge on the market every weekend.
flea market that's been in Chelsea for over 2 decades is being pushed out of its home. Fox 5's Dan Bowens was there as bargain hunters said goodbye.
It is a flea market where the collection of vendors are as unique as the vintage items for sale. A former singer, Lulu sells dresses dating back to a different era.
From the 20s, 30s, 50s, 60s.
I'm the old broad on the block.
Miss Eve hasn't missed a weekend in more than 2 decades.
Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world.
The Antiques Garden in Chelsea is a world made for bargain hunters. From vintage clothing to jewelry and furniture, you never know what you might see.
Bracelets, the whole 9 yards.
And now, it's all coming to an end at this indoor location.
Let me just put it to you. My heart is broken.
The Antiques Garage dates back to the old Chelsea flea markets of the 1970s. They've been tucked away in this basement since 1993. But like so much of this area, development has finally caught up with this old collection of relics. This building will soon be torn down and replaced by a new hotel.
Okay, this guy's been coming here for 35 years.
Alan Boss operates the flea market, growing it from just 11 vendors to the 130 here now. After watching development sprout up in this neighborhood near 25th Street and 6th Avenue, Boss says owners of this building decided to sell, so the market has to move. This is the final weekend.
We're the victim of real estate pricing, and as it goes right now, we're being forced out of this place to an outdoor lot that we have down the block on 25th Street. That'll be our new home.
That new lot is right down the street. Like many of the items they recycle and resell, Lulu and Eve hope the market will live on.
We began in Chelsea almost 40 years ago, and we're still in Chelsea. And this is probably the last space we'll have in Chelsea for as long as it's available.
Today is the last day. The last day at the garage. The end of an era. So what will happen today, I will have to pack everything and take it to my storage. And then we're going to start a new segment of selling vintage. Most likely outside.
Today is the last day for the flea market for 4 years. 1970 to today. It's last stop and last minute. Okay.
Good luck on the move.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you outside.
All right, see you there. I've been here almost 20 years. And it's gone today.
I go to flea markets all over the world. I buy antiques all over the world. I buy art. And this is my favorite market in the entire world. Because of the quality, because of the value. Because you can buy, if you have money, if you're willing to take the risk and educate yourself, and you have, say, $500, for $500 here, you can buy a masterpiece. You can buy an object that should be in a museum. You know, I've bought 16th century paintings. I've bought just incredible things, and it's not about what they're worth, it's about what they are. I don't buy something expecting anything from it. I buy objects because of what they do to me, because of how they make me feel, and where they allow me to go in my art. I'm going to miss this place tremendously. I love the physical space. I love this abandoned garage. I love, you know, that all this commerce and all these objects are finding homes in this place. But I think that I'm going to get to see the people in the outdoor lot. And I love the people. And I have made great friends here and learned a lot from people. And I think about them all the time, the vendors. And I'm going to continue my relationships with them no matter where they go.
She gives me consignment. It belongs to her.
Back to the church?
I'm going down the block back to the church.
Okay.
It's always good to go to the church. I like that church anyhow.
So do I.
It's very beautiful in there. At first, I was really nervous. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? It's a great garage. They're not gonna come. I'm not gonna be able to work. And then Helene went and bought the tents. And that's a game changer because it means you can work whether it's raining, sun, we got the tent. So that gave me a more positive feeling. And how do I really feel? Going outside, a sense of freedom, a sense of something wonderful to come.
Well, it's amazing because 2 years ago, I met my husband here, right in that little corner. It was before Halloween, which is this celebration we do where we dress up. So I was looking for a costume, and he had just arrived from Australia, and we met just like that. And then 2 years later, we got married. So it's very special. And the flea market has always been very special because, I don't know, you can't have this kind of shopping anywhere else. People come from all over the world, and it's really New York. I came to pay my final respects for the flea market because since I was a kid, since I came to New York in 1984, I've always come to the flea market, and it's a great New York institution, and I hope it survives.
It feels like I'm coming back next week, you know? And so I won't really fully realize how I feel about it until probably the middle of the week. And I'll say, oh, I'll probably start crying or something, you know? Because it's like saying goodbye to an old friend, you know? The people here have been fantastic. They've been like family. And, you know, it's hard to leave these people. I know we'll be in the other place, but there's something about just having people around you that you've known for like 10, 15 years. You know, that's hard to give up.
I feel a little bit sad. I feel very nostalgic, and I'm thinking about all the people I know and all the things that have happened to me here. How can I sum it up? It's been a fabulous experience. I'm sorry to see it happen, but I hope it can continue somewhere else.
I feel like it's unfortunate. If we could not do this, I would be happy that it was being torn down. But it's much better to have something over your head than to do it outside. And I don't think we can do it all year that way. So it pushes us further into the, you know, someplace where you have to figure out another thing to do.
Outside in the parking lot, and you know what? It's a new experience, and sure, it's going to be tough. Tough because it's a change. You got to readapt. The booths are smaller. You got to, you know, refigure things. No electricity. You got to, you know, change your game.
My whole career has been made of this place, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's funny how, you know, on different levels.
It's funny how, like, it sustains us, even though it almost kills us.
Isn't that strange? It is. It is. It's very good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
see
you.
you outside.
Yeah, I'm gonna try, man. I'm gonna try.
Call me if you need me.
I will. Okay.
Anytime.
Thanks, Scott. You've been a good friend.
I'm used to the way that things happen in New York City. So I face reality. And I look forward to the transition and accomplishing the transition and making it a functional entity so that we have a market that people can sell at and people can come and buy. I think my focus is on that because having been in New York all my life, I see too many things come and go. If this parking lot gets developed, or when it gets developed, we will move out of Chelsea and it'll be like starting over again. But you know, since it's been so viable for so many years, I don't feel that I can walk away from it and say, okay, I can do something else. And the whole idea of being successful in no matter what you do in New York is to keep up with everything. As it changes, you have to keep reinventing yourself. And if you keep reinventing yourself, then you can succeed in New York. Crazy. really great.